Hello people, welcome back. In the previous tutorial we talked about quite elaborately about drums and everything surrounding them. In this episode we're going to talk about the musical elements such as the piano chops, organs, bass and everything around that. So without further ado, how did I go about this? I had the drums and then I remember that actually in this case I started off with a chop sample because I had my friend Russ Disciples. You might all know him, he's the big man in the dub production. Here, Russ, hi Russ. That I had him record some guitars. These days Kingston Echo plays a lot of my guitars, but back then I didn't have anybody to play guitar. So he played guitar on a rhythm, but he sent me back two different recordings. One he did with one guitar and one with the other. So the other one got used in a track. And then I found, I still have this one. It's was almost at the same speed. You can see 129. This one is 132 beats. So I lined it up with this one. And I just thought, why not take it as a good basis on the rhythm? So if you listen back, then you can hear the guitar. And then I played some chops on top of them. But going back to the chops, in most cases, if I have an idea for a bass line, I will start with the bass line and then take it to the chops. Or sometimes I just figure out some chords that I like and go about from that. It's not often that I will start from a guitar sample, but I want to show you some stuff on the keyboard because there's a lot of options what you can do and be creative with the piano that I just want to talk about. It's a little bit technical, but this track is in A minor, which means it's like A is one of the most generic keys for reggae because it's everything on the white keys, so it's easy to play. You're not bothered with all the black keys and all that. So that's one that is quite used a lot in pop music in general. Anyway, so I use A minor. And if you look at the scale of A minor, you have like the fourth degree, you have A, B, C, D. So then a chord there to play is D minor. So the progression is A minor, D minor, but then D played in an inversion. Because if I can show you, you have like the A minor again. Like. So that's quite a bit of movement that you need to make with your hands. So very often I will play like that because it's just an easy movement. And also I find the transition between the two chords a lot smoother and more gluing together. So that's one thing. Make a choice from the second chord. In this case I used the D minor one, but in this scale you can also use the fifth chord. You had A, B, C, D, E, which is E minor in this case, which works really well. So that's an option you can use. Or if you want to go a little bit more into the 80s type of dancehall feel, early dancehall stuff, you can move to a major chord instead of a minor chord, which is not used as much in dub, but sometimes I do because I feel it gives a little bit of attention. So you have the A minor and then go to G major. That's, for instance, an option you can do. So it gives you a little bit of a difference. So like I said, most of the dub is in minor. A lot of reggae is the more poppy reggae is in major chords. You can already hear the difference, It's not my cup of tea. I don't have a lot of tracks in major. So back again, the A minor. What are my options? You can do a progression with just everything in A minor, or you can do a progression where you switch up the second chord, but then you have options. You play like if I let the rhythm roll, maybe I should mute out the chops so you have the rhythm. So you can go that's one chord for one bar, but for example you can go like it's already a bit of a difference. You play 3 times the bang on the A minor, and then you go for 1 on the D minor at the 4th chop, or why not play 4? That's an option you can do. So it's a little bit what your imagination can come up with, or you just mix it up how you feel, or on how what your bass line is asking for you, or your vocal idea. If the vocalist already has an idea, you need to find the chords for his vocal. You can go like something like that. You know, I'm a bit messing about right now. I just wanted to show you there's like plenty of options, even with simple chords, and you don't have to stick to the root position. You can also go find inversions, or just play while you play, just sort of to have some variation in the whole scheme of things what you're doing, and to make it less monotone. And what I usually do is play with 2 hands. That's a little bit from the rootsy, but a lot of people in contemporary dub, they just go for which is fine. I mean, the chords are very far apart in this case, and it's just you can make them like ring very hard, do some EQ on it. But when you play with 2 hands, you can make it a lot richer, in my opinion. It's like and stuff like that, you know. So I play with 2 hands. The spectrum is much more fuller that way. So that's maybe what I wanted to say about the chords. Let's take it back to the project. So I've deleted them, so I need to bring them back. Chords are back, and together with the chop, maybe I've already put them into the audio. Let's see. So what did I do on the guitar chop? You can see it sounds a little bit thin, but I just wanted like the sparky thing of it. And this is a trick that I often use, or what I often find is that you take away the low end, and you put in a low cut. Let's take away the high frequency, and you just go and take away what I already said, the low end. But let me just briefly pause that. You take away the low end because you don't need it. You don't want it to fight with your bass line, with your kick, or whatever. It just makes it muddy if you leave everything in there. Because if you just look at the wave itself, it's supposed to show. You can see here there is some bottom end happening, but it's not something you need in your mix. So you could just take it away. And what I often find with sounds like organs or even chops is you let it run, and you take away the low end till at a certain point you start hearing you take away the low end, and then you go a little bit back. So you try to find a sweet spot that you find where it starts affecting your actual sound that you want. So sometimes you want to take away the low end, you don't want it, and you purposely take it away, but if you just listen it solo, it sounds good, you know, the guitar sounds alright. So you want to go till that point where you feel it's not processing. Then it might help if you in that position there where you let's take it back a little further. That's usually a good spot to boost. I don't know the mechanics about it, but it's something I learned in a workshop from mixing or mastering actually. That is often a case where you have a frequency that is a good point to attenuate. So you take away until you hear it, and then you go back till you're sure what you've heard is missing, and that what was missing is a thing that you can boost. So in this case, there is a lot of high boost, and there's also a little bit at the 2000 hertz, and take away high end because you don't need it, and as well. And then I used the PSP Vintage Warmer to give it like a really gnarly, gritty sound on the guitar. Okay. So. And then if we look at the chops, I did some boosting again. Some low EQ. And some mid at 5000 range to bring it to the front. And I could say some drive, but I did the drive with the magneto. Again, you can see I also added, you have 6000 hertz, also some boost here to make it work together with my chops. What I often do is also pan one a little bit to one side and the other one to another side, so they give them a little room, you know. If you listen to this one, I actually felt it was fighting a little bit in the center, how I hear now on the headphones. So you see, it sort of opens it up a little bit. Well, sometimes you need to boost, but a lot of times you need to take away as well. Apparently in this example I'm not taking away anything, so let's leave it that way. So now I have that one going. Usually I will try and find a bass line. And if you look here at our bass line, it's a very much a stepper track in this case, so the bass line is very much stepper. So what we do here is we just follow. We're in the key of A minor, so A is the root note. So we just follow on the bass, on the rhythm, I mean, on the 4/4. It's like, but I felt it was too monotone, even though it's a very simple bass line. I just decided just to go one note down and then add it again. And if you look into maybe the grid, you can see it sort of makes a little break on the beat, and then it just breaks the pattern a little bit of just making it only on the grid, you know. Well, it's a simple bass line, but it works in this case. It doesn't always need to be complex, so we have so on the other notes that you take is like a little upbeat you make going back to the ground, to the root note. And then in the end, when yeah, after a couple of cycles, you can like just go up to sort of announce it's the end of the bar, and then you go back. So that's my bass line. Simple. But that's what I wanted for this one. I wanted to have a little bit of a meditation vibe. So in the DUBWAVE version that I made of this rhythm, like the vocal ones, has got all these drum rolls in there, but for the dub cuts I made, I took away the drum rolls again, and I just kept the focus on the bass line and the percussion, so that it would just go straight ahead and no disruption with the drum rolls. So that's a choice, it's an idea to just switch it up a little bit and not stick to 100% to the original one. So, but I did feel for this bass line. So this bass line is very subby. And I felt in the mix, it's doing its trick. It's working hard enough. You can really hear it blow or you can feel it when you're on the sound system. But I felt it didn't have enough going on in the low mid section. So what I often do is like you have the bass line itself. So you can, and then it's like I add another layer to it. So it's very subtle. So this is actually the sound I used in the production, but I don't have the plugins that I used on the laptop. But what do? I take away just a lot of the low end, so to make sure that nothing of the low in that subby bass sound, because if you take it away, you can hear there is bass in that too, because it's actually a more bassy synth sound. But there is not enough sub in there to use it as itself for the bass. So I just use the subby bass that I used, and I just layer on top another sound, and in this case add some distortion to it, and that way it sounds nice. Or here do the same with a synthesizer or a synth that I have. Let's see what I used here, because I don't really like the result on the real sound that I used. The processing here doesn't make me fit, so here I did the same. Take away the low end, everything on the 20 is gone, and take away under 100 Hertz, take away 100 Hertz, 150 Hertz, and add some distortion to make it a little bit grittier, and just add a layer on top. Probleempje of? Okay. Apologies. So after the bass line, it already sounded really well. We played it for a while like that, but I felt it needed something more, especially when I started dubbing it out. I felt it was too empty. So I was on the search to add another sound, and something that we use a lot in reggae and of course also in dub is clef sounds. So they're like, so, and I was a little bit toggling on the idea of, so I added something in like that. I'll show it to you. I don't always remember exactly what I played back then, because I'm not a performing musician, so I make it in the studio, and after a couple of months I don't really, or even after a couple of days, I don't really exactly remember what I played. So but you can hear, so it adds some movement, and I wouldn't call it a melody, but it just adds some movement to it. Let's see what I did to that sound. Again, like I said, between 200 and 400 Hertz, you have a lot of warmth, so I took away low end, and I did a little bit of boosting around 200 Hertz, and I added the decapitator again for some grittiness. Again, like I say, often it's subtle what you do. You see, before I used the E amp here, in this case I decided on the N amp, take away some high end, because the clav is basically a low mid sound. I also made sure I didn't have any low end working, so you can see I take it away here on the low cut, but also did a low cut on the actual graphic parameter, graphic EQ. And since the VST is offering me a low cut, I might as well just use it there too, so to make sure everything is gone in the low end. And then you can hear, like I said, I wanted something to move, and if you go in the dub and you add some spring to it, it really works well. So So that's for the clav that I added. Oh, I really don't want to close right now. So after that clavinet, an organ was added, an organ shuffle, which is a technique that's often used in roots reggae, just to add some movement and fill in the spectrum, like the low mid end, and also it gives you the opportunity to just do more variations, add some melody by chords or notes, but basically it's just like a groove going underneath. So you can hear it here. While the piano is always on the second and the fourth count of the bar, on the measure, it's like 1 chop, 2 3 chop, 1 chop, 3 chop, and that's the way it goes. The organ will start ahead, and it's like you have 1 and 2 and so on, and that's the way the shuffle goes. So I will show you on the keyboard. You have, like, if it would be the piano chop, it would just go. Oh, why it's not playing? So if you pretend this is the piano, but if it's the shuffle will start before the actual bang, so it will be. So it's a little bit of a movement, and actually the best thing to do is play it like really percussive. Well, and that, and then again variations will. You can add some variations in between, like switch up your hand, go a little bit higher, or add more. Add more notes or more moments that you play. Apologies, English. So it's like. Stuff like that will help develop it. And like I said, it's a sound that sits underneath in most cases. Depends on your preference, but you will hear it too here. So it's just adding some movement in there. I will make it a little bit louder to just show it more to you. So all that will help make everything move while the core of the rhythm is just going straight ahead. All these small elements give some movement. They, at first gaze, you don't really notice them, but that does a lot on your track. So then I worked a little bit on the intro to give that one more, well, to elevate the, how should I say, the epicness, the bombasticness of the rhythm. I added some bass notes in the drum rolls, which are basically, I'm just holding the ground, the ground note, and then the same thing that I do when I play the actual bass is like the notes that go up to the ground note, they are played, and that's it. And then in the end, a little bit like going up again to accent that we're going into the loop and of the whole thing. So I do that with the bass, the low, the mid bass sound. I added some piano chords. I don't think I can show them here. It's just basically playing the actual chords, but it's playing. Why are you not doing what I'm asking you to do? Okay. So it's just holding the chord long and then banging the other chord twice, just to add pressure or power to it. And then what you get is this. And then obviously, of course, vocal was written.
People come and get the, can you feel the energy? Yes, we move it in a style, we move it to be free. Giving your strength for your mind and body. Feel the connection between you and me. Unity is more than an opinion. Liberty is more than a religion. It is my only tradition. In adoration, celebration time, the healing of the nation. Together we are flying high. Can you feel the good vibration? Good vibration. Flowing and going, feeling.
And of course, after the vocal, horns were written. The horn players will basically always find spots, or in our opinion, or in our case, that will fit in with obviously the chords and the melodies, but also with the horn, with the vocal. Apologies.
Move it in a style, move it in a way. Dance all your troubles away. It makes me feel fine.
But for the sake of the tutorial, we're gonna leave it at this. I'm not gonna go into the details of the vocals and the horns. Gonna take a little bit too long. That might be something for the next one. So thank you for listening for the whole part, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, remarks, comments, leave them below. Thanks for your time, and hope you enjoyed it. Ja, ik ben ook